Today we're making Welsh cakes. Hi everyone, welcome to Black Cat Kitchen. I hope you're doing well. Today we're making Welsh cakes in honor of St. David's Day. St. David's Day is on the 1st of March and it's in honor of the patron saint of Wales. Welsh cakes are a beautiful combination between a cookie, a scone, and a pancake. It's almost an indescribable flavor and texture, and if you've never tried one, you definitely have to watch this recipe to learn how to make them. Today I'm making traditional Welsh cakes using currants, but you can definitely make these your own by adding whatever you like and removing the fruit. I've made these with orange zest and mini chocolate chips, and they are delicious. Here are the ingredients you'll need for this recipe. Feel free to pause. I'll list the ingredients in the description below. This dough comes together a lot like a short crust pastry. We're going to start by mixing our dry ingredients together. Into our large bowl, we're going to combine our flour, castor sugar, and castor sugar is actually really important in this recipe. So if you haven't got castor sugar, use granulated sugar, but whiz it through your food processor first so that it gets a little bit finer. Baking powder and mixed spice. Mixed spice is the closest thing I've found to the American version of pumpkin spice. But unlike pumpkin spice, it has caraway and coriander in it, which gives it both a sweet and savory flavor. I'll pop a recipe down below if you haven't got mixed spice. It's key in this recipe. We're going to mix this up with our hands. This is a very hands-on recipe, so you'll get your hands dirty for sure. So in goes our butter, which I've cubed up into tiny little pieces, and our lard. You can use all butter for this if you want. The lard just gives it a little bit of a creamier, silkier texture. You just want to get all of those pieces coated in the flour, break them up, and then start rubbing them together. And you want them to look quite sandy with maybe just little pea sizes of the butter and the lard left over. So just keep going until it all sort of comes together. So you can see it's come together a lot like wet sand, and it'll just sort of crumble. And that's the texture that you want. In go our currants. Now, if you're not using currants, if you're using something else, you'll want to add it at this point. You don't want to overwork the dough once you've got your liquids in there. And just toss them around so they get coated in those little grainy bits. I've made a bit of a well here and I'm going to add my egg in. And I've just beaten my egg up a little bit so it incorporates a little easier. And you'll want to just bring it together like a short crust pastry. Don't overwork it. That needs just a little bit of milk. Don't add too much. You can always add more, but you can't take it out. You can see it's come together nicely, still a little bit crumbly, but that's what we want here. And we're just going to roll this out and cut it into little Welsh cakes. We're going to sprinkle our dough with some flour. It's still that little bit tacky and wet, so we want to make sure it doesn't stick to our rolling pin. And then we're just going to roll it out until it's about 2 centimeters thick. And I like to turn it because it's such a delicate dough. You don't want it sticking to your board. I'm using a scalloped edge 6 centimeter cookie cutter, and I like to stick it in some flour so that nothing sticks to the cutter, and then just cut out my cakes. Don't worry if a few currants stick out of the edge there. Traditionally, Welsh cakes are cooked on a large griddle. If you're lucky enough to have a cast iron griddle pan like this one here, definitely use that. There will be years of flavor baked into this. This came as a gift from my friend Sharon, whose nan was Welsh, and she passed it on to me. Thanks, Sharon. Because I know most of you won't have a griddle pan like this at home, I'm going to show you today on my pancake pan that I used in my pancake video. I've linked it down below, but you can use any frying pan. Before I start cooking them up, I want to prepare the pan that I'm going to be putting them on after they're cooked. So I've just got a regular baking sheet, and I'm going to sprinkle it with some more castor sugar. While the Welsh cakes are still hot, they'll pick up some of that sugar and it will make a nice little crust on the edge. I've heated my pan up to just above medium heat, and we're going to fry these in some lard. We're just going to let a few of those melt down a little bit before we put our cakes in. Just get your Welsh cakes in your pan. You don't want to overcrowd it because there is baking powder in this recipe and they will get a little bit bigger. They take about 3 minutes per side, so just be patient. Just carefully check underneath each one to make sure they're lightly browned and these are ready to flip. You'll want to be quite gentle with them. It's really important with Welsh cakes not to cook them all the way through. You want to make sure they're just a little bit undercooked in the center because they'll continue cooking as they cool. The second side doesn't take as long as the first, and we're just going to place them in our pre-sugared tray. Put them hot side down and then give them a quick flip so they get sugar on both sides. Best enjoyed while still slightly warm. Because we rubbed that butter and lard in there, you've got beautiful flaky layers on the inside. It's indescribable. It's like Christmas and Pancake Day and all of the holidays at once. It's just such a magical texture and flavor. You'd think they'd be heavy with that lard in there, but they're so light and buttery and they just melt in your mouth. The currants give a little bit of resistance in there. It's definitely worth having something mixed in. Don't make them plain. They need that little bit of chew and bite to them. That caster sugar on the outside gives a nice sweet crunch while you bite into it. You've got the softness of the actual cookie itself. Could you call it a cookie, a cake, pancake, a scone? It's a Welsh cake and it's amazing. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.